The battle begins. Karoline Leavitt felt a bit tense before going live. The host's left-wing views and condescending attitude already set the stage for what felt like another typical late-night show. As she sat in front of the screen, Caroline glanced briefly at the other panelists, but her eyes were fixed on the host. The host, with a typical elitist left-wing attitude, began speaking. So Caroline, as a young person with such a strong political stance, sometimes it's really dangerous to hold conservative views. You just don't realize how harmful these kinds of ideas have been to young people in this country. As the conversation rapidly escalated, the host's words became even harsher. Sorry, but people like you are just backup players for Trump, that's all. A smile appeared on Caroline's lips, but there was a fire in her eyes. She knew she had to defend herself, but she also recognized that this unjust criticism wasn't right. Caroline folded her arms and took a deep breath, steadying herself. Her gaze was sharp as she prepared to respond. Well, it seems like you're speaking to me in a condescending way, but every word you say is actually a reflection of your own narrow-mindedness. Caroline replied, choosing each word carefully. You belittle me and others like me, but that just shows how narrow your political views are. You claim to be so liberal, but freedom isn't just about agreeing with one side. It's about respecting differing views, but you target not just ideas, but people. The host shifted uncomfortably, but immediately tried to respond. But, she began, your views make no sense. Everyone tells you the same thing. These are just flawed ideas. Caroline didn't let her finish. Unfortunately, your ideas need some evolution. And I don't think you can even see how things you think are so interesting have actually turned into a source of shame. At that moment, the host's face turned pale. She tried to respond but couldn't. Caroline's words had knocked the wind out of her. Suddenly, there was a tense silence in the studio. The host shifted uncomfortably in her chair, but she couldn't speak. Caroline's words were landing too hard, and the host couldn't respond. The host's eyes began to well with tears. Her words had become blocked. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't retort this time. Caroline's composure and the confidence in her voice had completely shaken her. The host's facade had cracked. Caroline, without raising her voice but with intense effect, continued, I'm not your enemy. I know people like you need to grow, but anger and condescension won't get you anywhere. The host remained silent, her face now flushed. She was unable to form a single coherent thought. It felt as though her career had just been brought to the brink. She had never felt so weak and vulnerable. Caroline's eyes sharpened with every word, her stance unwavering. The cameras were focused on the growing emotional tension between them. This wasn't just a political debate. It was a battle for dignity and respect. Looking back, that moment was a turning point. The host, finally, despite her resistance, bowed her head and took a deep breath, her voice shaky. Caroline, she said, I'd admit I insulted you. I really didn't mean to. This was entirely my fault. I apologize. Caroline, calmly watching her, responded, I accept your apology. But remember, these kinds of destructive attitudes only push people to defend themselves more. As a politician or a host, you should respect other people's opinions. The host, still unable to compose herself, lowered her head further. Caroline's words had hit her deeply. She was no longer able to hide behind her usual tactics of dismissiveness and mockery. The camera zoomed in as the host stood there, defeated. This moment wasn't just about a late-night talk show. It was a reminder of how critical it is to stand firm and express oneself honestly. Sometimes simply standing your ground and speaking with respect can make all the difference. And so, Karoline Leavitt's moment on that show became not just about political discourse, but a testament to the power of courage and the strength that comes from standing by your beliefs.